Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. 1 century ago, H.L. Mencken said, "The whole aim of practical politics is to keep the populace alarmed by menacing it with an endless series of hobgoblins, all of them imaginary. This strategy works best with invisible demons like carbon dioxide." On January 18th, a large group of experts predicted record-low ice coverage for the Great Lakes. But Great Lakes ice cover ended up being a little bit above the 1980 to 2010 average. The peak year for Great Lakes ice cover was 8 years ago, and there's been really no trend over the last 40 years. 2014 was the peak year for Great Lakes ice cover, but experts predicted that year that the Great Lakes were going to go dry because of global warming. However, there's been no trend in Great Lakes water levels over the past century. These experts are incompetent because their belief system is based on a superstition about carbon dioxide. In 2008, Norway's leading expert predicted the Arctic would be ice-free that summer. Canada's leading expert, David Barber, also predicted an ice-free North Pole during the summer of 2008. British swimmer Lewis Pugh listened to the scientists, and he came up with the idea of kayaking to the North Pole during the summer of 2008. He only made it about 20 kilometers out of Svalbard on a 500-kilometer journey because he got blocked by ice. Canadian experts predicted an ice-free Arctic between 2010 and 2015. NASA's leading Arctic expert predicted that the Arctic would be ice-free by 2012, and Mark Cerise of the National Snow and Ice Data Center said the Arctic is screaming. National Geographic predicted the Arctic would be ice-free by 2012. The BBC predicted the Arctic would be ice-free by 2013 and said that may be too conservative and might happen earlier. The United States Navy predicted the Arctic would be ice-free by 2014. James Hansen was NASA's leading climate scientist, and he's the guy who started the global warming scare before Congress in 1988. He predicted the Arctic would be ice-free between 2013 and 2018. Leading congressional Democrats said, "Dr. Hansen was right. We recognize him as a climate prophet." The Sierra Club said Arctic sea ice will vanish in 2013. At the prestigious Nobel Prize ceremony in 2007, laureate Al Gore predicted an ice-free Arctic by 2014.
Another new study to be presented by U.S. Navy researchers later this week warns it could happen in as little as 7 years. 7 years from now. In the last few months, it has been harder and harder to misinterpret the signs that our world is spinning out of kilter.
Let's see how the Nobel laureate did with that prediction. This graph shows Arctic sea ice extent every day since the beginning of 2006. The red line shows the 365-day average, which is highest right now in 7 years. There's more ice in the Arctic now than there was when Al Gore made that prediction 15 years ago. These experts are incompetent because their belief system is based on superstition, not science. They believe that carbon dioxide controls the climate, which has been a popular superstition over the past 40 years. And a lot of them have adopted an even more ridiculous superstition about methane in climate. Carbon dioxide forms the basis of all life on Earth. Without it, we wouldn't exist. But in 2009, Obama and Biden gave the Environmental Protection Agency the authority to regulate carbon dioxide as a toxin. This gave the Environmental Protection Agency the ability to shut down entire energy sectors in the United States. And as a result of Obama and Biden's actions in 2009, America is now short of energy and it's extremely expensive. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court took away the EPA's ability to use carbon dioxide as an excuse to shut down U.S. energy. The EPA is very upset about this and says they'll still consider carbon dioxide to be a toxin. This sort of mass insanity and superstition is not new for humans. In 1841, Charles Mackay wrote, "Extraordinary popular delusions and the madness of crowds." He said, "Men, it has been well said, think in herds. It will be seen that they go mad in herds while they only recover their senses slowly, one by one." The claimed climate consensus is an excellent example of men going mad in herds. It's also an excellent example of why consensus science is a disaster for the human race. Michael Crichton said, "Consensus is the business of politics, not science." Toto has been helping people regain their senses about climate for the past 14 years. You can visit Toto, Kyrie, Caesar, Upal, and Toki on the web at realclimatescience.com.